Welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman. It's July 23rd, 2025. It's Wednesday afternoon. We are just chock full of earnings right now, sending the S&Ps all over the place. Google just came out literally seconds ago, initially spiked higher, now seeing some sell-side activity. We're not going to get any clarity until probably well after that conference call, but order flow is all over the place right now, sending the futures in a bit of a tailspin. But don't worry, because it's only going to get more wild here momentarily. We are just possibly moments away from Tesla's earnings coming out. But I'm going to actually back away from some of the earnings announcements. I know they're exciting, and believe me, I've got trades on, many of the earnings trades on right now between CMG and Google and IBM and Tesla. I've got them all on right now, but I want to move away from that to a much bigger theme right now inside of the marketplace. Of course, you're looking at the S&Ps like, hey, the only theme right now is look at the upside, right? Because markets continue to perpetuate to the upside. But I'll tell you, the biggest theme that I see right now, and that happens to be, if you're looking at the S&Ps, which are up just about 0.8% on the day, okay? The Nasdaq, okay, is weak on a relative basis. That's absolutely critical, because what has been, if you will, the primary driver of this marketplace, I mean, really, that is the driver of the marketplace right now, has been Nasdaq. And it's no longer the Magnificent Seven. We're down to like maybe 4 or 5. The Magnificent 4 or 5. That's what we'll call it at this point. But they're not leading the pack right now. Yeah, that could change a little bit as some of the earnings come out. But there's some warning signs right now in the markets, because tech is not necessarily leading. One of the warning signs that I see in here, okay, is where the leadership is coming from, okay? And that happens to be the Dow. You see the Dow seeing some sell-side activity. Look, the Dow seeing sell-side activity right now. That's the earnings announcements I was just talking about. But again, move past that, okay? All of a sudden, we're buying Dow. Nobody's wanted to really, touch. And again, you can look at the year to date and the Dow, and it's not bad. Year to date on the Dow, it's up like 5.6%. Okay. But, you start looking at the Nasdaq, it pales in comparison to the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has almost doubled those returns. And again, that's exactly the kind of stuff that I was talking about on this past weekend's update. I was talking about, this divergence in the force, and that was the equal weight S&P versus the market capitalization S&P, that there was this, huge break in correlation. Okay. Well, we're seeing some of that start to play out in this marketplace. And I'm going to just tell you, okay, in really short order, I'm going to tell you that, people, is the single most important aspect in today's market. You can sit here and prognosticate about whatever you think. And again, some earnings are going to come out, and earnings at this point, by the way, I absolutely love trading around earnings, but earnings at this point are almost like a distraction from what should really be kind of center stage. You really want a distraction, look no further than Tesla. But what should take center stage right now, okay, here's Tesla. Okay, a little bit of a bit of the upside, as I was saying, the distraction of Tesla. Here's Tesla moving. Okay, no question, its earnings are out. But okay, you start looking at things like the financials, okay, and the financials just flying to the upside today. And these things are close to like this huge or critical breakout. Any news on them? Any earnings? And the answer is absolutely not. Another one that really has grabbed my attention a lot in the last couple of days, okay, the XLU, the utilities. The utilities. Now, don't get me wrong, the utilities did actually have a reversal today. They ended up down on the day. But look at this kind of magnificent breakout. What's going on in here? Anybody wanted to buy utilities this year? Okay, absolutely not. I mean, see utilities. They've done nothing for all of May and all of June. Okay, and effectively inside of 3 or 4 trading sessions, here we are breaking to the upside. And there's a lot of what I would term, quote unquote crap that has got bids under it. Okay. Meanwhile, looking around some of the usual suspects, some things kind of stalled out. Microsoft, but granted, you're going to tell me, no, Microsoft's earnings coming up. I get it. Okay. But the drivers of the marketplace, maybe a little bit of bid to Apple, but again, what is Apple doing on a year-to-date basis? It's down 12%. They're going to comment, of course, on Amazon. Okay, hasn't really made much of a strategic move as of late. Obviously, we're looking at Google, but Google after hours all over the place. Right now is massively unchanged. All I'm trying to point out here, okay, is that some of the leadership role, okay, has actually shifted to some degree. And again, yes, earnings could actually shift this around. And yes, you're actually seeing right now, you're like, no, the Nasdaq is coming back. Nasdaq is coming back largely predicated on what you see out of Tesla. And you can trust Tesla just about as far as you can throw it, which is, I have no idea, and neither do you. Not until tomorrow morning we're going to have any clue as to what Tesla's going to look like. Because you see this little icon right there? Yeah, that little icon right there means none other than Elon Musk is going to start speaking. And when Elon Musk speaks, people sell. Anyway, so the key to this marketplace right now is you got to see, okay, literally coming into Thursday, Friday, where is the leadership role, okay, kind of coming from? Such an important conceptual area. Where is the leadership role kind of coming from in this marketplace? And right now, okay, it has not actually been tech. All right, let's move past that. Obviously, some big earnings out after hours today. Not nearly as much coming out tomorrow. Obviously, Google, which is massively unchanged right now, kind of takes the cake. Tesla, Tesla, though, honestly, I don't think has. Tesla might move the Nasdaq like today, tomorrow, but that's it. Tesla's kind of its own animal. Google, though, definitively matters. Like, there's no question that Google matters in here. All right. Let's switch gears. Let's cruise over to the SPX. And the reason I want to go to the SPX, okay, is that the SPX, okay, will hit the upper edge of its expected move. In fact, if you actually look right now, just a little bit here in the after hours, you can actually see the S&Ps reaching towards highs. Okay, effectively, what that implies at this point is, again, this is now an intraday chart. Okay, we're a hop, skip, and a jump, and I'm going to really zoom into this. I'm zooming into what? That line. That line, okay, happens to be none other than 63.72. Again, that line is 63.72. And what that is, that's the upper edge of the expected move. You're 12 handles away from it. And, barring anything wild said on the Google conference call, I think you pretty much can scream, "We're home!" All right, we're probably going to hit the upper edge of the expected move, okay, and kind of ebb and flow a little bit on that. And that's important. And I'm going to tell you exactly why it's important. It's important because in the previous, and I'm going to really zoom in here, in the previous two, okay, consecutive weeks, we did not hit and we did not hit. So it's of critical importance. Let's see if we actually hit the edge of the expected move. Again, yeah, the earnings, okay, are moving markets. Okay, but what really right now needs to be the focal point is where that leadership is coming from. Last, but definitely not least, okay, volatility. I'll look at the VIX for a second, okay, but volatility is absolutely, unequivocally rock bottom here. Vol falling back into the 15 handle. It's a lot of news in the last 24 hours. Possible trade deal with Japan, possible trade deal, okay, with the EU, the European Union. Nothing definitive, but the volatility, okay, bought that hook, line, and sinker. Volatility getting crushed back. I mean, these are incredible lows. And I said this the last time we were down in these levels, and I'm going to say it again, okay? Anything under like 16 for me in volatility is a huge buy, okay? Buy the volatility. Look, a lot of trade deals that are getting done in the next week or so. Some may not, okay? None of these deals are necessarily set in stone. We keep hearing the word like framework used. Nevertheless, the S&Ps, they're buying it all the way up. However, tech isn't necessarily in that leadership role. As I said, That is the key to the marketplace in the coming days. Thanks everybody for joining us here at TheoTrade. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.